RK's Guyana Free Media presents for human development and national development this message.
Yes, very dearest and beloved divine friends and families in Guyana and around the world, your brother Haji Roshan Khan with another update of depression vis-a-vis the election update. Another update, I just learned that Mr. Charles Ramsden, attorney at law, young Charles, has filed a criminal action, private criminal action in court against Vibert Mingo, the returning officer for Region 4, and Walter Lawrence, chairman of the PNC, are, unfortunately, I think this is a moment of great shame and terror, because they will be forced to appear in court, put in the box, and will be asked questions, and they have to answer, because perjury in court is imprisonment. There's another development coming out of it. Well, our worship, the Chief Justice, has instructed about the statement of polls to be used to complete this count and ensure that the Chief Justice was extremely cautious to ensure that Mingo and the chairman of the Elections Commission, Justice Claudette Singh, comprehends what she is trying to say. Justice Claudette Singh said that she intends to follow through now. And when the Chief Justice asked her what happened before, like yesterday then, the chairman replied, well, are we moving forward or are we going backward? Something is really not right here. Something sinister is going on, unfortunately. It's a painful, a sad, and a terrible thing. To such a point that I'm worried that all those people who might appear not to have supported the party who wants the power, whether after it is all settled and they get the power, whether they will go out of their way to destroy them. I've seen things like this in the past. I've experienced some of this in the past, where attempts were made to actually wipe me out, to destroy me in business. Whilst I did have some friends in position to try to watch over me and walk me over through troubled waters. But the other update here, friends and families, I'm talking as I'm thinking, and I'm depression. So that's why I might not be flowing too straight, if you, my friends and families in Guyana around the world, will understand. I'm very depressed and very sad as to what could happen in Guyana. The ABCE countries, America, Britain, Canada, and Europe, have issued a statement about the current situation, which is obviously corruption within the counting system and some kind of a conspiracy with GCOM and another entity. They have not mentioned any other entity, they just mentioned GCOM, so I'm giving you what I've been saying all the time. The flaw lies with GCOM. If GCOM is allowing itself to be used or to be manipulated, or because they have political loyalty or ethnic loyalty, then it is GCOM's fault, and not an entity who will use the opportunity that has been provided to them to take power. I'm still blaming GCOM and GCOM administrators, particularly the CEO, Mr. Lowing Field, who is in charge of Mr. Mingo, who is the returning officer. So these diplomats, all heads, left the place of counting and went away when they realized that another spreadsheet was being used, and we're told that it was the same spreadsheet, and he's not producing the SOPs, which is obvious to say that the SOPs has been used, abused, marked, demarcated, and that there are changes on them. There are reports out there now that people are seeing the SOPs at the polling places being withdrawn and being replaced with different ones or prepared ones. Very serious cause for concern. Another development, the Commonwealth team of observers have decided that they are giving up and they're leaving Guyana at the earliest opportunity to return to their countries, and the report will be forwarded by the head of the team in Guyana to the Secretary General for further action. Lo and behold, after spending hundreds of millions of dollars in rental of the Ashman's building for the counting and the administration and management of the polls, today, after the Chief Justice has pronounced and given an order, Mr. Mingo, the regional officer, has decided they are moving their headquarters of counts. They are moving from the Ashman's building now, automatica, by fiat, instantaneously to the headquarters down in High Street. This is a very serious cause for pain and depression and worries, friends and families around the world. What I'm worried about, I keep on saying, I really don't have a problem with any of the two major parties. Like I said again, I have friends in both of them. But I'm concerned about our national image. I am concerned about sanctions being levied. First of all, sanctions will be levied against the head of state. First of all, they start with visas and their families. British, European Union, UK and Canadian visas being withdrawn. Then their assets. Then their close finances, those who have been financing them. And they are known by these people who are the finances of these parties. Big businessmen who can put their hand on almost anything and get the whole country for themselves. The other thing is sanctions such as our oil money, our gold or diamonds stored in England or the United States could be put under sanction, and our government cannot get it until the proper things and the proper count is done and a proper government is sworn in. We are already told by the Secretary of State of the United States of America through his deputy, Mike Pompeo, through his deputy, that an assumed government will not be accepted. It has to reflect the will of the people. My point is, look at what some leaders would do to their country and their country folks, and the depression and disintegration of our national cohesion, our national patrimony, that will be drifted apart and fragmented, all because of ambition, power, and possibility of wealth. Look at the amount of people that have lost their credibility. I would never have expected the chairperson of GCOM to cause her integrity to be questioned like this. It was always suspected by those who are in the business of monitoring elections and elections affairs and matters that Mr. Lowenfield, the CEO, Chief Elections Officer, was a questionable personality. Personally, I like the guy. I always liked the guy. But what I've seen there, his behavior, his antics, his going and his coming, his disappearances and his sudden appearances and the slow-tishness to get the work going, one can read from the body language that something sinister is in place. And as for Mingo, well, we know what's happening. And that entire team in there, in that building, were being trained for a particular affair, a particular matter, which is to thwart the reality of the election if it doesn't go into the favor of the favorites of the GCOM management, the GCOM authority, the GCOM executives and board. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and families, do you all understand what is sanctions? When Guyana becomes isolated and it starts to bite, when funding, aid, IMF, World Bank loans are frozen, our standards of living are going to drop. We're going to start vying against each other. Crime will exacerbate. People will want to leave the country. Property prices will fall, maybe to 20, 30, 40 years ago, when things are being developed so beautifully. Already, Windsor Homes have suspended their new project. Other people who were supposed to be moving in are suspending their projects and suspended moving into Guyana for investments. We are in a bad state. Economically, all our holdings internationally that we may have, our reserves, could be seized and held, as we saw with Iraq and Iran, and at one time with Libya and some certain African countries. It's going to be a very hard and difficult time just because of a set of people are hungry for power at all cost. I've been asked, Roshan, why don't you stay quiet? Because people could destroy you. Well, they attempted to destroy me already. I'm a patriot. You can't take that away from me. I'm for Guyana. And I can never be for deceit, evil conspiracies, and corruption. I cannot never be for one set of our people getting the good life and another not. And I can never be for one set of people targeting and boycotting another. And I'm talking about both sides are being tempted to do these things. This sluggishness to get the results done and all that has been happening is destroying our economy and the fabric of unity, of love and harmony that we have always had and enjoyed in this country. Friends and families, I, yours truly, Haji, Dr. Roshan Khan, I feel very sad. I feel very depressed. And the last few days have been some of the worst days in my life. Sincerely, yours truly, go in peace, Khuda Hafiz, and best wishes.